Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the stream. Welcome, Corbin and Hunter. Let us know what stocks you guys are watching this morning, and Tom and I will cover them. But AMC is having an amazing morning so far. It is at that $32 level right now. Its pre-market high is right around $33. It's getting so close to its all-time high, and it just has so much momentum right now. Everyone is talking about it. And to my knowledge, the shorts still haven't been squeezed yet. So there's a lot of hype in this stock, a lot of people looking at it. So like, Tom, do you have any main levels to watch out for? I know 33 is going to be huge, but do you think we're going to hit all-time highs today? Because I know that there's a ton of hype in this stock.
Personally, I would not be surprised. I think we might do it. And going back and looking at that max weekly chart, like we were talking about, those all-time highs are at 34.58. So I would say if we could break above $33, which is the high of this morning, I would think that we could obviously move up another $1.50 up to these highs. And I would think that we could maybe hit like 35, maybe even $40 today with this type of momentum that we're seeing. And man, there's just so many people rushing into this stock that I would not be surprised at all if we came up to somewhere like 35 or 40.
As always, make sure to have risk management strategies in place, because anything can happen. Sean said it's about time to start a GoFundMe for the short sellers. I mean, it looks like we might have to. I mean, if they still haven't covered yet, I don't know. They're not in a good position, obviously. And, the more people that talk about it and drive the price up, it's just going to be brutal. We have Jesse asking about the skinny on the inflation data. Basically, it came in higher than expected, but at the same time, inflation data was calculated on a year-over-year basis, and around this time last year, it kind of skews the numbers a little bit. So the data was it was bad, but it wasn't like horrible or anything like that. Good morning, Queen. Good morning, Terry. He's eyeing KOSS. Let's check it out, Tom. KOSS. Oh wow, this one's moving up pretty well.
Yeah, it is very well, actually. Moving up in pre-market up to 26.72. And man, just make it break 27. I think it'll be a pretty good trade. If we look at that daily chart, it's really starting to move up. And I know we talked about this one a couple days ago, and it might not be the safest stock out of a lot of these value stocks that are beaten down right now, but there's definitely a lot of opportunity for it to keep going to the upside. And I would think that $40 is going to be a key resistance over the next couple of weeks, especially if it keeps popping the way it is. Definitely watch for 30 today and then possibly 40 if they can break $30.
Good stuff. Did you see Zoom this morning, Tom? This thing.
No, I didn't. Zoom. Let's go see it. ZM on the 1 minute chart, of course. And wow, yeah, popping up. That has that high at 331 from yesterday. I mean, it looks like we're going to break that today.
Yeah, we'll see. One thing with Zoom is it's pretty illiquid in pre-market, so it's kind of easily manipulated. So we'll see how it opens up in 10 seconds, but it's definitely on my radar. It's one of my favorite stocks right now. But yeah, I mean, they also have earnings pretty soon, so we'll see what happens. Right now, it's up around 1.26%. And let's check out AMC. This thing's up 19%. All right, Tom, while you're looking at the chart, I have to check out some of these options on AMC just to see some of these gains. Give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, this is crazy. We're selling off at open. I think off of open, maybe watch for a $31 support, like where we're heading down to right now. We're going to have to see how this continues to shape up because this is not the open we wanted to see. But at the same time, it's just the first 1 minute. So we'll just have to see how it continues to move up and down. Let's go see the overall market really quick. And the SPY is starting to actually come down a little bit. The QQQ is starting to go red. It was initially green. Now it's red. So this 1 minute is definitely volatile so far today, but going back to AMC, it's starting to post some green now, which is good. So hopefully over the next few minutes, we can start to see this come back up to $33 and looks like it's really going to try to. It's starting to pop right now as we're talking.
All right, so I'm looking at these AMC weekly options. The 20 strike calls for this week on Monday, they were worth $10 each, and right now they're worth $1,300 each. So that's just crazy. I mean, I can't believe the movement on AMC, but they actually just broke its pre-market high, and it's running up. There's just so much buying pressure and, upwards momentum coming into this stock right now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. I mean, wow, look at it running off of $33. I mean, man, it's already up to 34. It already moved a whole point. Now it's already up to 34.50. Wow, this is insane to watch right now. Up 30%, hitting $35. already. I mean, this is where I would have kind of expected the first little resistance to be would be at 35. Looks like it's having some trouble getting above that, but man, let's just keep watching it on the 1 minute. Looks very interesting. I hope it can get some momentum and keep pushing up. There it goes, 35.25. Man, how high is this going to go, Mike? You think we can hit 40 today?
I mean, like it's unlikely statistically speaking, but at the same time, like it's hard to bet against it because we just saw it go from 31 to 36 in what, like 2 or 3 minutes. This is crazy. Wow.
Yeah, this is just absolutely nuts, man. I mean, it's up so much. It's getting really overextended, actually. We're almost up to 37 now at this point. Let's go back to that max weekly chart. We broke all-time highs on it. So there we go. Finally doing it. Maybe we'll get to $40 today. I think we will, given the movement that we're seeing right now, but we might not hit it. Who knows? Like Mike said, you have to be very careful with this one. Definitely have a solid exit strategy in place because you can see on this 1 minute how volatile it gets. Now we're actually coming to the downside all the way back down to $34 now. So now it moved down about 3 points. And man, yeah, very volatile. Hopefully it doesn't like sell off and start to get to those opening prices because that would be pretty bad.
All right, so guys, let us know what stocks you're watching. We have Gerard saying, good morning. What is a solid support on Boeing? Tom, let's check it out.
Yep, Boeing. Let's check out the 15-minute. Let's see. I think there's a solid intraday support at 247, right where it's at right now. It looks like it's really going to break that one to the downside today, unfortunately. I would say, let me go out a little bit further here on a 90-day 15. I would say if you start to go to the downside, look for 244. That's going to be a solid support. It's hit off of that quite a few times the past few days, but definitely make it break below like 246.50 before you grab any puts or you know what I mean? Definitely watch out for that level too. And just in case it hits 244 and goes back up to that or whatever the case is, but definitely 246.50 and then 244.
Tom, check out Zoom intraday. It's starting to rocket up, and I think the setup, I know we've been playing this one for what, 2 or 3 weeks now, and it just looks great. It's having an amazing recovery, and it's actually a pre-earnings run up. They report earnings on, I want to say Monday. Yeah, it was at June 1st after market close. So it's definitely a stock to watch out for.
Yeah, I think so. It's looking very strong, having a nice recovery back to the upside on the daily. It's just been a nice slow recovery back up. It hasn't necessarily exploded back like we've seen GameStop, Enphase, and a few of the others do, but definitely strong and just steady on its way back to the upside, which is almost better in a way, but definitely look for it. I think there's some resistance coming up, definitely around $350. So watch out. We're about 15 points away from that, but yeah, Zoom is just starting to look really good. I love how it broke out this morning. And it just broke that high of yesterday. It was just a very nice thing to see above 331. And like you said, though, it's a little illiquid in pre-market, so it was a little hard to tell. But right it open, it finally got that liquidity and just shot right up.
All righty. So welcome to the stream, Slick. How you doing? So we have Airbnb holding its ground. I know Palantir won like a $111 million contract from the government, and they're popping up pretty well. They're up around 3.5%. Palantir is doing very well, actually. It looks pretty solid.
Yeah, it does. I love it. There's this high right here, 2353, which I've had on my charts for a few days now. This red upper resistance was not posted this morning, but there we go. Breaking that high finally, and it's finally breaking out. Hopefully it can start to really run. It's already up 3.4%, but with this type of news, I would kind of expect them to run a little bit more than what they have ran, but we'll have to see. We're heading up into a lot of resistance, like I said, and I think we just broke one, so we'll have to see how much it can start to move up above those pre-market highs here, kind of like we saw with AMC whenever it finally broke out. But keep in mind, Palantir is definitely not going to be moving like AMC, but going back to AMC, here we go, heading back up to $37 again. It got rejected, came all the way back down to $32.30, and then now it's all the way back up to $36.70 again. And now we're heading back down. So definitely watch out. It's definitely choppy on AMC and just the overall market, really. I mean, Palantir is even having trouble breaking that pre-market high and staying above it, but it's trying to run up, and it just seems like we're seeing a lot of chop come into the market.
Alrighty, then we have JG saying, can we take a look at Apple? Let's see what it's doing. AAPL, it's actually down a little bit today, and we're seeing like a rotation out of like some of these like bigger tech stocks, and we're seeing a rotation into like some of these beaten down growth stocks like NIO, Palantir, DraftKings, Zoom, Enphase, and Peloton, which is awesome in my opinion. Some of these growth stocks were just like beaten down so bad, and I think it's I think it's about time that they finally pop back up.
Yeah, it's about time. I mean, we just keep seeing, like you said, this rotation in the overall market. And we kind of saw it last time where everybody was buying the growth stocks while the value stocks were going down. And then the value stocks kind of recovered and came back up while the growth stocks fell over the past few months. Now it's just time for the opposite scenario. And really watch out because there's great opportunities like with Palantir Zoom, Peloton, DraftKings, Enphase, RUN. I mean, I think all these stocks are going to be awesome for the long term, even though they're still down a little bit right now. And, DraftKings is off a lot from its bottom support. And we've been talking about it for what, the past couple months now. So honestly, there's just been a lot of opportunities. And, I hope that a lot of people didn't miss them because these opportunities have honestly been pretty good. Like DraftKings, anywhere under 45 was awesome. Let's go look at like Zoom anywhere under 325 was an amazing level. Enphase anywhere below 120 bucks was amazing. So it's just like, off of those supports would have been an amazing time to grab some shares or to grab some leaps. And I'm sure some guys did. And let me know in the chat how those positions are doing, because I'm sure they're doing pretty great. And I know a lot of people are probably also kicking themselves for not buying on supports.
Well, I even think like if you're looking like for like a long-term investment, I still think Enphase, DraftKings, NIO, and Palantir are at good levels. Like, DraftKings is at like it's less than $51 a share right now. Enphase is still pretty well priced in the grand scheme of things. Now, it might take longer to break even, but I still think that they're at some pretty good levels. We have DraftKings holding their ground intraday, and then we have Corbin saying, let's take a look at Beyond Meat, BYND. This stock went crazy this week. It looks like it's finally pulling back, Tom.
Yeah, finally, but it looks like it's still gapped up though. Like, yeah, look at that. It still went up in pre-market before it pulled back, which is insane still to see. But definitely look out. 146 is where it hit yesterday, and we're kind of getting close to that today. But man, this stock, it's like you said, it's just about time it's coming down. It's pretty much went straight up for the past few days. If we go look at that daily chart, I know that we've been talking about it on the stream quite a bit because me and Mike were a little salty that we didn't buy it off that support down there because it was pretty obvious. But man, definitely look at this. You can see it pretty much gapped up for like 4 days in a row, and it's finally starting to come down off of some resistance. So honestly, not unexpected here on this move back down, but wow, what a crazy play we saw with Beyond over the past few days.
Well, what do you think of SPCE? This stock is popping. It's up around 12%, and on the week, it just exploded.
Yeah, still going. I mean, man, that test flight was just really good news for them. Seems like that's going to definitely help them in the short term. A lot of resistance coming up around $35 to $36. But like you said, this is some great movement off of that test flight. And who knows, this stock could really keep flying in the past. They've flown up a ton in the past. We're getting close to like some of those upper levels right now, though. So like I said, be careful. But in the past, this thing, when it runs, it really likes to go. And I know that earlier, like whenever it was really having this downspout, Kathy Wood cut some of her position. And then the CEO or the founder, Richard Branson, also cut some of his shares as well. But they still own quite a bit of shares of SPCE. And for the longer run, it might do pretty well. So who knows? I mean, it's kind of in the middle of its range right now. I wouldn't necessarily get shares right now, sorry, but I would go ahead and grab some calls or something like that if you think it can break out here in the short term out of these resistances. But if not, definitely watch for it maybe to come back to the downside off of those if it fails to break out.
Good stuff. So Palantir's up big time, up over 5%. It is really starting to explode. Looks great. Even AMD's popping up, and like some of these chip makers, Tom, looks pretty good this morning. Let's see. QQQ is popping up a lot. What else do we have? Roku moving. What else? Yeah, I mean, Palantir is really, really popping. They're up around 5.5%. They're just at that $24 resistance.
Yep, Palantir is starting to really pop up here, right at that resistance. The daily's starting to look pretty good, honestly. I mean, who knows how high this can go? It's at resistance, but I see a huge upper resistance at like 27 or $28. So we'll have to see how that goes. But let's go check out AMC really quick, and I'll be right back, Mike. I just have to check a position.
All right, no problem. So if we look at AMC right now, it's basically holding its ground. We had a little bit of a selling pressure come in, which I guess you can say is normal considering it's up 30% on the day. 30% on the day. Like, this is crazy. It has a pretty big support right at $30 a share. And then also some more support right at $33 a share, which it is testing right now. That resistance is right at $36.72. If we go to that max weekly chart, give me 1 second. If we go to that max weekly chart, it is actually breaking. It actually broke its all-time high today. So, of course, there would be a lot of sellers coming in at this level, but IV's also popping, so be careful with these options because they're getting pretty expensive.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an insane move here to the upside. It's up 23% still, even though we're coming down and we're at $33. And yesterday it was up 50% at its pre-market or at its high of day. So just crazy, but it is starting to really tank off now, which is starting to worry me. Right as it hit all-time highs too. Now it's back under those all-time highs. And man, it's starting to just get pretty bloody this morning, but just keep in mind, this is pretty expected. We're kind of expected to see a lot of up and down movement. So it could still obviously go up today, maybe to $37 or $38, even with this downwards movement, with the volatility that AMC has in it. But one thing to keep in mind is that just as we start to get to these types of highs, some people are probably going to take profits, which is probably what we're seeing right now. And we'll probably see that again over the next couple of days. But man, I mean, I want to see this hit $100 so that Hunter has to slide around like Gary the Snail, you know?
I know. I know. All right. Good morning, Shelby and Vicky. Also, B, let's see. We have Shelby saying, do you guys think Palantir will hold today? What do you think, Tom? I mean, it looks really good right now, and they have a good catalyst to back it up. So I would expect them to hold these levels.
Yeah, Palantir's it looks like it wants to hold. My only concern is let me go to this 15-minute chart so we can see the exact level here. But yeah, we can see that there's a pretty big resistance anywhere from like 24 to 24.50 on this stock. But like we said, there's just a ton of momentum this morning heading into this. So hopefully you can like at least hold these levels as the day goes on and then maybe break out on Monday or on Tuesday, I should say, because keep in mind, we do have Labor Day coming up on Monday. Is it Labor Day, Mike?
On Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. Yeah, we were talking about this before the stream and I got Labor Day mixed up with it. But yeah, definitely watch out for Memorial Day on Monday. So then Tuesday, you know, we might see some more movement, but definitely watch out because this is approaching these highs at like I said, 24.30. So just be a little careful because we might fail to break out here. But with all the momentum, I mean, man, we should start to see it start to see it break out, especially with all these other growth stocks going up and the QQQ kind of rising up too. I would just kind of expect, you know, all these growth stocks to maybe follow each other and keep going.
All righty, so let us know what stocks you're watching. We have B saying, good morning, guys. What's going on with BB? They've been having some amazing gains this week, and this is actually another like short squeeze stock, you can say. It's popping up, you can see kind of with AMC. Let me pull up their exact short float real quick. Their short float is only 9%, but it's just like kind of like one of those meme stocks. So it just runs up, when the other meme stocks do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And let's go talking about the meme stocks. I mean, we haven't really given GME much love this morning. We've been talking about AMC, but man, GME is not having that good of a day. You know, it didn't really run up like AMC did. And it's, you know, I saw this article last night on CNBC that we talked about in our video. And they kind of said in there that on Wall Street Bets, according to like some data, that that AMC is now more talked about and more popular than GME, which is not, you know, I'm not surprised to see that at all given the movement. But man, GME, just poor GME, you know, it's just underperforming compared to AMC and just looks sad this morning. You know, you can see how red it really is. And like, let's go see AMC. I'm sure it's starting to be a little red too. But man, GameStop has just been really underperforming. I would have kind of expected them to go up a little bit more, but the good news is that they did pop with them a little bit, which is good at least.
All righty, let's see. So how's AMC doing? We have to check it out again intraday. What's it doing, Tom? Oh, wow, it's actually pulling back a little bit.
Yeah, pulling back. It's like sitting right around this, like, I would say there's a lot of support this morning around $31. It's hit that a few times. It hit off of this 100 SMA too and held that. So maybe that's a good sign. Maybe we'll hold these SMAs and these supports and go back up, but we'll just have to see because it's up so much the past couple of days that honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it came back down a little bit, but with all the momentum coming in, I was kind of hoping for like maybe a push up to $40 or $45, but I know that was a little far fetched, so it might not happen, but I was hoping for a push up to 40.
All right, and then we have Shelby asking about AMD in the short term. So it looks great. Overall, they're up around almost 2% today. It popped up at open. It looks really great right now. I like the setup. Let me check its IV real quick. It's oh wow, its IV is very low, so you can get some options that are pretty well priced. I like the setup right now.
Yeah, I've actually loved AMD. I mean, this stock is moving very well. It's bounced off of $80 even this morning, which has been a pretty big resistance for AMD. So watch out for that as we hit $80. But I've loved it off of this bottom support. It's had a ton of consolidation for the past couple of weeks. So it's been a little hard to trade. Like, for example, if you would have gotten some calls and held them for the past couple of weeks, I mean, the stock was flat. So you might have, you would probably be down quite a bit right now just due to time decay if you would have held those calls. But shares were a really good option off of this $74 support on AMD. And honestly, I would not be surprised if we saw it come up and kind of retest this resistance up here around like $82 to $83. And especially with the 1 minute chart, if we can break out above 80, then it would be a great play. But I'm not sure we're going to be able to do that because $80 is pretty strong and it might take a couple of days to finally get above there.
All right, and then we have Long asking about Airbnb and Baba. So let's check it out. Airbnb had an amazing day yesterday. It's holding its ground right now. It gapped up, but it had a little bit of selling pressure at open. I like the setup for like the next couple weeks. I think it looks really good, and I think that there's a lot of opportunity in terms of like a bounce back up. They've had a good catalyst lately, and then also at the same time, their options are pretty well priced with IV being as low as it is. And then if we look at Baba, Baba is kind of a similar setup. Yeah, it's a similar setup. IV's pretty low. It looks like it's at support right now at 210. I like Airbnb better, but Baba looks good too.
Yeah, I personally like Airbnb a lot better as well. I think that there could be a lot more growth out of that stock. Baba scares me because any bad thing with China could send Baba to the downside. But if we look at Baba, it's hitting off of this 212.25 support, moving pretty well. And if we go to the 1 year daily chart, it's down quite a bit off of some bad China news, like I talked about. So watch out because this thing could really recover back up over the next few years because it's not like Baba's like some terrible company or anything. They're definitely a pretty good company. Not that I necessarily love their website more than like Amazon or anything like that, but it's a pretty good one. And I would say over the next few years, they could start to recover. And intraday, I'd be a little bit worried. There's a lot of resistance up here, but at the same time, if I was playing Baba, I would go for more of a longer term play with this one with shares or maybe shorting some puts or something like that, rather than trying to play this in the short term because it's so up and down right now and the volatility is insane. And if we go look at the 1 minute, you can just see over the past couple of days like how much up and down movement Baba's had down here around these supports.
All right, and then we have Corbin saying, I'm watching DraftKings sadly. So, hey, they're holding their ground right now. They actually just had an awesome candle. They didn't really like tank it all today. They're just kind of not really doing anything, but it has resistance right at 51. If it breaks that, it should be pretty good. They popped up a lot this week, so I kind of expect a little bit of consolidation, but overall, I'm a huge fan of this company for the long term. Then we have Roberto saying, hello guys, good morning. I'm watching Roblox today, so let's check it out. Roblox has been going to the moon, and it actually broke all-time highs again today. It looks pretty, honestly, it looks pretty overextended. I really wouldn't be surprised if we do see it pull back. And then we had Queen saying, is it a buying opportunity for Roblox before going to the moon? And honestly, I think it's pretty overextended right now. It had a crazy move, and I think we're pretty likely to see a pullback.
Yeah, and it's just an unfortunate thing to see. I mean, over the past couple of weeks, we've been seeing tons of stocks flying up number one off supports, and then some of them like Roblox to all-time highs. And it's just a crazy thing to see with this stock. Like Mike said, it's very overextended. It kind of got close to $99 as well before coming down. That might be a big psychological number, as well as $100, which we're very close to. So I would definitely be a little careful with this one. If we go look at the 1 year daily, it's pretty much been straight up since we were at $72. Now we're at 98. I would not be surprised if we saw a few days of pullback at least before breaking $100. So I'm not too surprised. But I don't think I would necessarily buy this dip either. I would wait for it to go lower. It looks like it's going lower right now. That was just a little lucky that it kept going there. But let's see. I would say if it kept going down, look for somewhere maybe around $92 is a good support over the next couple of days, maybe 92 or $93 if it can hold that today or like on Monday or Tuesday, I should say. But if we go look at the daily, that $100 level, I think is going to be pretty good. So just be careful because I have a bad feeling we're not going to break that.
All right. And then we have Matt saying, good morning, guys. What do you think about Square? So let's check it out. Square is actually popping up so much this morning. It looks really good. I know we've been talking about this one a lot this week. It bounced so well off that 200 support, and it actually had a 10% bounce back up all the way to above 220. I think it looks pretty good, like even for like a medium-term swing trade. But yeah, I think the setup looks pretty good in general. They're also a good company for the long term. And then we have Dean and Iggy saying price prediction for AMC to close today. And then Dean was asking about this AMC in general. So, it's very hard to give a price prediction on a close today when a stock has a 300% implied volatility. But we can give you some levels to look out for. Tom, I can see it's holding its ground right now, right around like $33. Like, do you see any like trends or like ascending support levels or support and resistance or like anything that we could watch out for?
Yeah, a big thing I was looking at is kind of like this support where we hit down here around $30.50, and then also right on that 100 SMA. It's moving well to the upside off of that. I would think if we broke $35, we would come up to $36 pretty easily. I think it'll be pretty hard maybe to break the high of day, but I think it will happen. We held this 100 SMA. I've seen it happen tons of times with other stocks, even like with Apple, Microsoft, and PayPal, Walmart, where they hold this 100 SMA at open and fly back to the upside as long as they can hold that. And I would think that since that's a support as long and the SMA at the same time, that hopefully that would hold up, and we just have all that momentum with AMC. So honestly, I would not be surprised if we kept going up in the short term, make it break above 34.70. I would think before getting into any day trades again on the calls for it, 34.70 or 35 would be a good level to watch for a quick scalp up to like 36 or 36.50. If we can't break out above 36.70, then it's going to be a rough day. But I think we'll break out above that and maybe head to like 40 or 45. I think it's just going to take a lot of movement here at open because obviously a lot of people probably have wanted to take profits really quickly today.
For sure. All right, let's see. So we have Palantir still moving up. Palantir's up over 7% on the day. They're really popping up. They look great. Yeah, I think it looks really great, and it's finally good to see these stocks, start to pop back up because poor Palantir got beaten down so bad over like the past probably like 5 months or so. It hit highs of like $45, and ever since that point, it fell as low as like 18 or 17. So it's good to finally see a pop back up, and it looks really good.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it looks fantastic. We're heading up into some resistance, which is slightly scary. But of course, anytime we're going up after we were already up before, we're going to be heading into some levels, of course. And that's just the name of the game. But looks very good intraday, breaking out above that little high at like 24.24 and at 24.30 right now. Really good levels. I really liked it when it broke out above that pre-market high around like 23.50. I think that was an amazing entry right there if you would have gotten in. Now we're all the way up to like 24.27. I think it's getting a little overextended today. I think it could keep going up a little bit, maybe to like 25 or 26, but in the end, I don't think it's going to have too much more movement.
All righty, and then let's see. We have Hunter saying AMD looking really good right now. We have Michael saying bought an AMC call on Monday for the strike price of $28. Would you sell or keep holding? Expires June 11th. It never hurts to lock in profits, and what you can do is, since you are in the money, you can always sell like a further out of the money call. For example, you bought the 28 call. You can sell like the 34 strike call right now for June 11th. And let me see something real quick. For June 11th, if you sell the 34 strike call, you can literally get paid $1,100 cash right now. And at the same time, you still keep your call option and you just turn the play into a spread. So either way, always trust your gut, but I would highly recommend protecting yourself in some way. Risk management is very important. And then we have Jesse saying, new to the bot callouts, bought some AMD calls Looks like the bot keeps shouting it out, and AMD broke $80. So yeah, let's take a look at AMD. Yeah, AMD is popping up very well. It's actually at its high of day right now. Never hurts to lock in profits, and with bots, always double check with the charts. But yeah, it looks pretty good right now. Then we have A saying, hey guys, great channel. What do you think of CCIV in the medium to short term, like 6 months? So let's check it out. CCIV, I do like this company. It's one of like a more speculative trade, you can say. I do like them though. Palantir, DraftKings, Enphase, and Zoom, I like them more, but CCIV does look good, and their options are very well priced right now. And then we have Matthew asking about the DAX, Tom. DAX is up around 0.3%. Doesn't look bad. It's just so choppy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a very choppy ETF. You could say it's the German ETF. Then we have Gerard saying, bought Boeing rated support. 249 is a solid resistance. Let's check it out. Is 249 a solid resistance, Tom?
Yeah, let's go check it out. 5-day, 15-minute. 249. Let's go see. So right now, it is actually going to be a pretty solid resistance. It looks like it's going to do maybe a little bit of a dead cat bounce and get rejected off 249 and come back down if we see more red movement and it can fall below 246.30 here. But honestly, yeah, that is going to be a pretty good resistance right around 248 to 249. I think that anywhere between like those two levels are going to be what I like to call that the chop zone, or like the resistance area. So I think that there's just going to be a lot of resistance right there.
Alrighty. So we actually had like airlines and cruise lines, or mainly airlines, I should say, fall back a decent amount this morning, but they came right back up. A ton of buyers came into it. And Tom, I know we've been saying this literally all week about like airlines and cruise lines, how they look pretty good, but American Airlines is at its high of day right now. It looks really good. Even if we look at the Jets ETF, it had an amazing recovery. It fell all the way to lows of like 26.80, and now it's getting right at that opening price. So I think it looks pretty good. And then if we check out like CCL, that looks pretty good too. It's about to go from red to green. Then what else do we have moving? NVIDIA moving a lot. It's wow, NVIDIA is exploding. Check it out intraday.
Yeah, there we go. NVIDIA. I've been loving this stock, man, especially heading into this split. Definitely before the split happens, look for it to keep running up. And they just had some earnings too, and kind of, were flat to say the least off of those earnings, even though the earnings were pretty decent. But I would think that they'd keep going up in the shorter term into this split later on in July. But keep in mind that like once Apple and Tesla, once the splits actually happened, the stocks ended up going down for the next like month or two right after the split happened. But heading up into the split, they straight up exploded. So just keep in mind that once, there's always a lot of hype heading into these splits, but then after the split, it seems like it likes to slow down a little bit. So definitely be a little wary of that as we head into there. But this is awesome to look at today, especially on the 1 minute chart heading all the way up. I loved how it broke above 634. I was a little worried it wouldn't do that today because it already had to move like 2 to 2.5% to break that. And then it just kept going up even higher. Now we're at 3%. So overall, great movement out of NVIDIA. And man, this split news and the news of it, the news with those great earnings, I'm surprised it didn't keep going up. It just had to consolidate for a few days, it looks like.
How about Palantir? Now it's up over 8% today. This is awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, it continues to go. Let's check out that 1 minute again. Still going up above 24.60. I just don't even know what to think about Palantir anymore, Mike. It's had such a good day today. I mean, that it's kind of like outperforming a lot of other things. I would definitely look out for some resistance if it keeps going around $26 intraday, but I would not be surprised if we hit it at this point. It just keeps moving and moving, and I don't know where the top would be right here. Let's go to the 90-day 15-minute to try to see it, because I know we were talking about it earlier and it just broke out above that. So let's try to find the next one. Maybe I'm gonna have to go to a 4-hour chart here to actually see this movement. And yeah, let's go ahead and see. Yeah, somewhere up here on 26, I think is the next solid resistance we have. So I think there's a lot of movement here between 24.50 and 26.
Sounds great. Let's see. We have Emmanuel saying, is AMC to the moon, guys? Tom, can you do a quick recap on AMC real quick?
Yeah, AMC. Let's go check it out once again. Yeah, it's kind of just consolidating. I will say it looks like it's still going to go up, in my opinion. This setup looks pretty bullish. like I've been saying all morning, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but it's held this 100 SMA and the support around $31. I think it'll be pretty good. It looks like it's kind of, it's trying to just stair step itself back to the upside. It had a lot of momentum initially at open, and with how much we've went up over the past few days, because keep in mind, not just today, or else I would just have expected it maybe to continue like it did yesterday and the day before, but it's went up so much the past few days. We had like a 30% day, then we had a 40% day. Now we're already up 27% today. So just keep in mind, there's probably going to be some profit taking. But like I said, I'm kind of expecting this stock to come right back to the upside off of these SMAs and this support. And we're kind of seeing some green come in right now as I'm talking on the 1 minute. It looks like it's trying to finally go back up there. And honestly, if we break out here above this little resistance at like 34.65, right where my mouse is, I think that this stock is going to start to explode and head back up to $36, but we'll just have to see if it can do that. But honestly, over the next few minutes, I bet you if we go look at a couple stocks and we come back, this stock will be somewhere like, $36 or something like that, hopefully.
Good stuff. And then we have Sean saying, how far can AAL go today? So this stock is just on a tear. And this stock actually, let me pull up the exact expiration for you. But on let's see, on April 26th, someone put about $40 million into the AAL calls, the 17 strike calls that expire on November 19th, and they are still holding those calls. They bought in for around $630 a piece. Yeah, and then right now they're at $850 a piece. So they're really popping up, and I know that smart money is very happy with that trade, and the fact that they're still holding is a great sign. And I'm a big fan of AAL right now. It looks great. What else do we have moving? Tilray? Is Tilray moving? Let's see. Oh, wow, Tom, this stock is popping.
Wow, it's still going, Mike. Yeah, we closed it a little early, it looks like. But man, that was insane. It's coming up to 1837 now. Wow, yeah, we actually had a position on Tilray and we closed it yesterday, like right at open, and ended up with a pretty good move out of it. But still, it's going higher. And this is pretty insane off of this bottom support here. Looks like it's following all those other growth stocks, Mike. Like we're seeing Palantir pop today, Tilray up today. It just seems like the growth stocks are having another great day like they've been having for the past few weeks.
For sure. And then we have, let's see, we have Jesse saying made $80 off a $100 investment on out of the money calls on AMD. I'm out 1 for 1 with the bot. Thanks, dude. So awesome job, Jesse. Just no matter what, be careful, and not every trade's going to be like that, but awesome job with AMD. It actually had a great run up, and it seems like it played it perfectly. Then we have Muscle saying, go NVIDIA. Been long for quite some time. Finally didn't drop the bag. Didn't drop big after smashing earnings. We'll be watching closely until the split. Go AMD. So that's awesome. I know that you love NVIDIA, and they're such a powerhouse company, and I'm glad that it's popping up for you. It's having a pretty good day today, both AMD and NVIDIA, but that's awesome. And then we have B saying, hey guys, what could happen with Twitter end of day? Let's check it out. How is Twitter doing?
Yeah, TWTR is kind of recovering up this morning. It was kind of falling off initially, kind of like we saw a lot of tech stocks doing. We even saw Apple falling off at open. But now, yeah, Twitter's recovering back up. I would think end of day, I would honestly think that we close somewhere maybe around like 58.40, maybe somewhere around there. If we can break out above 58.40, I think it would be a pretty good move, maybe up to like 58.60. But I don't see it necessarily exploding up today or anything like that, unless we just see tech keep exploding. But we do have a lot of resistance coming up around $60 on Twitter, but it's trying to really fill this gap that we've been talking about for the past few days. And I think it will eventually do that. The question is when, and obviously it's going to be very, very hard to time that, especially with what price it's going to be at the end of today. I would say somewhere around 58.50, somewhere around there.
Alrighty, so we're seeing a lot of stocks pop up today, which is awesome. Tesla's down a little bit, but Palantir up 8%, NVIDIA up 3%, AMD up 3%, Zoom up 2%, Square up big, DraftKings up 1.5%, Enphase up 1%. So we're seeing some good buying activity, which is awesome. And then we have Mike saying, check BCRX. Let's check it out. BCRX. So it is up 7%, which is awesome. Let's take a look at the daily. The daily looks
Wow.
really good. In like the past couple months, it went from like $3 all the way up to 16, which is awesome to see. I'm not sure if you're looking at this for like a long-term hold or like a short-term day trade or what. Their max weekly looks a little rough, but they're looking really good over the past year.
Yeah, the past year actually looks really good, I should say, recovering up very nicely. The only problem to me is that it was at $2. Now it's at 16, so that worries me a little bit, up like 800%. I would kind of expect it to come back down maybe over the next few months, but with it exploding like this, if it keeps breaking out above $16, it's probably going to keep going. And honestly, this is a pretty good chart over the past year, a very nice recovery play, and hopefully it can keep going. But just keep in mind, to me, it's a little bit overextended right now, especially on the daily chart. I never want to buy, at least shares anyways, up here at these types of levels. If you want to trade calls or something really quickly, I think that's a good idea. But just look at how high this stock is. And then if we go look at something like DraftKings, for example, we can see how low DraftKings is compared to its high. And that's the only thing that worries me with BCRX.
All right, and then we have Muscle saying CRM is piping today. What do you think about tech slash popping, not piping? That's what he said. So, what do you think about tech slash cloud space? So I love that sector, and I love the company too. They are really exploding. They're up around 7%, which is awesome. Looks like they had good earnings. I didn't look too deep into their earnings report, but it looks great, and I heard that they're a great company, and I'm a huge fan of the sector that they're in.
Yeah, me too. I love CRM. I think it's going to be awesome. It was coming down very nicely and bounced off support a few times at 210 and had a lot of good opportunities, honestly. I think CRM was one of the better opportunities that you could have gotten on this dip. And honestly, it just looks like a great thing for the longer term. Hopefully, it can keep going up here. There's going to be some resistance coming up around $250 that I think that will hit off of pretty well whenever we do hit that, or at least intraday. Look for some resistance if it hits there. But over the next few days, I would not be surprised to see this one keep going up. It's a powerhouse stock. Lots of people trade Salesforce and really love it for the longer term. And I think it's going to be a great company to recover. And I really like how it didn't, it fell down, but there's a lot of companies that fell a lot more than CRM, like Palantir, DraftKings, Zoom. They all fell like 40-50% in some cases. So this one is only down around like 30-40% max. And I think that's a pretty big thing to see. Yeah, somewhere around 30%. So it's not quite as bad as some of those ones that are down like 50 or 60%. I think that goes to show how strong this stock is.
All righty, so I know we were talking a good amount about like these chip maker stocks, like NVIDIA, AMD, this morning. But I want to point out an ETF. It's called SMH. Let's check it out, Tom. SMH. If you want to just get like a nice diversified like portfolio of chip maker stocks, like this one holds like a lot of TSM, NVIDIA, Intel, Qualcomm, AMD, MU, XLNX. Companies like that. So feel free. I just wanted to point that out. Of course, always do your own research, but it's just like a nice way to get like a nice basket of a bunch of different semiconductor stocks, and it's performed very well over the past couple years.
Yeah, and it should keep performing well as we go on because these things are not going anywhere as tech advances. The only thing that's going to get better is some of these companies, honestly. Like we're going to see AMD, NVIDIA, and the others probably keep going up as the years go on, especially with advancements in AI, because it takes a lot of these GPUs to really run the AI technology with how complex it is nowadays. And that's just what it's really coming to, is who can have the more powerful systems. And it's looking like that these things are just going to keep advancing and getting better and more powerful too. Like we just keep finding faster speeds, more processing power and stuff like that. So as the years go on, I think these will be great opportunities, especially SMH, like you said, Mike. Personally, I like AMD and NVIDIA a little bit more, but that's an awesome ETF though for the whole sector.
Sounds good. And then we have B saying, how about OCGN soon to get their COVID vaccine with the FDA? So let's check it out. OCGN. I have not been following this one. I don't really trade stocks like this, to be honest. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's holding that $8 support, and historically, it is making higher lows, which is good. I don't really trade stocks like this, but it does have resistance right around $10, and then right again at 16.
Yeah, it's moving off the 100 SMA on the daily too. But like Mike said, I don't really like to trade these stocks either. And the big reason for me isn't necessarily because it's like $8. Just the movement doesn't look good at all. Like obviously it's been going up since like February, but that's about it. So besides that, it was actually really beaten down. And the thing is I just don't like trading things whenever they have a catalyst like a vaccine coming out, because who knows? What if that vaccine gets rejected? What if something bad happens with vaccines and the FDA discontinues them temporarily, or who knows? Anything could happen with a COVID vaccine type of announcement. And sometimes these announcements just get a little overhyped. And that doesn't mean that this stock isn't going to pop off of that news. But whenever you have to rely on that news, sometimes it's just like a coin flip.
For sure, for sure. And then with the next comment, we have Mike saying, great analysis, guys. As always, thank you for that. And we have Queen saying AMC went down to 32. What's going on?
Oh man, yeah, it's kind of pulling back. It has like lower highs today, intraday, which is not a good sign at all. Yeah, it's actually looking pretty bad now. Starting to have a lot of red candles, which is very unfortunate actually out of AMC. I was really hoping it could head back up to like $40, but looks like we hit that $36 level and just tanked right off. I'd be pretty careful with this one today, guys. It looks like there's a lot of chop. Definitely make it break out solidly above 36 or 36.72, I'd say, before just grabbing some calls on this one. It looks like it's getting close to support now around 32 once again. But man, I mean, this stock it's just unfortunate to see it down. I was hoping for some fireworks today, like I was saying, maybe up to $40. But yeah, it's just unfortunate, Mike. And what do you think about AMC? I mean, do you think it might keep continuing down today? You think it's going to consolidate with all the momentum going into it? I mean, I would think it would have to hold some support somewhere today with all the buyers coming in, but who knows?
Yeah, so there's a lot of hype in the stock, right? And there's a lot of there's just a ton of buyers coming into it. But a couple of things to keep in mind is, whatever, no matter what stock you're looking at, whether it's AMC or Amazon or some penny stock or whatever, it can't just go straight up forever. So there will be pullbacks, and pullbacks are actually a good thing. And, if you look at companies like DraftKings or NIO or Enphase or Palantir, like they had a very big pullback over the past couple months, and it sucks in the short term, but it's good in the long term. And the point is that pullbacks, whether they're on, whether they're intraday or over the course of a couple months, ultimately they are a good thing, and it shows like a healthy uptrend. My biggest thing is whether or not these shorts have covered their positions on AMC. Like, have they covered? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't have a way to track that data. That's like the biggest piece of info for me. Right now, I know a lot of people are holding AMC, so I hope it continues up. I'm not holding any AMC, but I hope it does continue up. Right now, they have support at 31, but either way, no matter what, whether, especially if you're playing AMC, make sure to protect yourself somehow. I know I'm just hearing way too many comments of people saying, I'm putting my life savings in AMC. Just please have some risk management strategies in place. You can always, turn your options into spread. You can like hedge in different ways by like buying put options if you're holding shares. There's a lot of different things you can do. Just please be careful. And I hope it does continue up for everyone who is holding it. Remember, pullbacks are healthy. But yeah, either way, I'm definitely gonna have my eyes on it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just updating a position really quick, but yeah, this is looking pretty good, honestly, off of 31. Hopefully it can hold 31. I mean, I would hope that support holds up today. Like I said, I would think that we bounce off support somewhere as we go along, but we'll just have to see what happens because this selling pressure is pretty heavy, and hopefully this doesn't scare a lot of people out or shake out a lot of traders.
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure. And then let's see, we have Matthew talking about the Nasdaq. Let's see, QQQ. Yeah, I mean it's popping up a little bit right now. It's kind of choppy today, but you know how we know how the Nasdaq is. Normally it pops up. Then we have B saying that's so true, guys. That's so true, guys. Didn't think of it that way. Yeah, it's awesome to hear that you're learning on the stream, and Tom and I can always go into like more advanced spreads and ways to hedge yourself, and with like just how the market works. Like we do this all day long, so If you guys have any questions, you could always ask any questions specifically. But Tom, I'm seeing that Snapchat is pulling up on my high of day scanner. How's it doing?
Yeah, really good actually, up to $62. Let's go to that 1 year daily. It's oh my, yeah, this is really recovered back up. Man, we're seeing a lot of these stocks start to really recover. I mean, Snapchat is honestly, it's only like 10 or 12 points away from its all-time high now. This one's recovering up very nicely. I think there's a huge resistance coming up around $65. Watch out for that, but we're only at 62 right now, and it looks like we could definitely continue to the upside over the next couple of days. I mean, there was a huge resistance at $61 that we finally moved above today, and it's just skyrocketed up above that, and looks like a very good setup. And if we go look at something like Palantir, it moved above its resistance today and ran up too. It's just we're seeing lots of these stocks going up and just moving above these resistances and then just running back to the upside, which is a great sign out of a lot of these companies.
Sounds good. And then, Tom, we had to talk about Beyond. This thing is still going. Check out this daily chart. This thing is crazy. It's basically at its high of day right now, right at like 154.40. This thing literally had like a 50% week, like a 50% to the upside week. This is crazy. Honestly, I would expect the end to be pretty soon with this one.
Yeah, I would think so too. It would have to end soon. There's a huge resistance coming up around 160 that I'm seeing on the charts, like 160 to 163. So I would think that somewhere around there, it would stop eventually. And like we've said, this is just insane. I mean, how often do we see this type of setup happen in the stock market? Like, look at these gaps. And like you said, a huge 50% rise. Do you know what this reminds me of, Mike? It reminds me of the last time Boeing hit $100 and ran up to 180 like 2 days later. That's almost what this reminds me of. It, and it's doing it right off of $100, which is almost like the same exact setup. Not that it's the same stock or the same movement, but wow, that's a pretty similar chart actually. Let's go. I'm gonna go check out Boeing as it had that drop really quick and see how that moved here. So let's go to the max 1 day really quick and just scroll back slightly. And let's see. So yeah, here it is. Boeing came straight down, hit off of $100 and just skyrocketed right up to 180. And it gapped up right then, almost like Beyond's gapping up right now.
True that. And then we have Andrew saying SPY puts for the gap down. You could, it never hurts to hedge. It depends what you're holding though. Like if you're, like it depends what you're holding for it to be a hedge. One thing I do like to do though is like instead of just like a naked SPY put, I like to do like SPY put debit spreads. It helps you fight time decay more, and overall, like you can get a really good risk reward ratio while at the same time combating time decay, which a lot of times, like especially with options traders, time decay is one of the worst problems. Like I know a lot of people normally predict the direction correctly, but that time decay will definitely screw you over. And then we have Shelby saying check out NOK. I haven't looked at this one in a while. Let's see.
Yeah,
oh wow,
Nokia.
Tom. Looks good, actually. Looks good.
Yeah, I've actually liked it. I know we were talking about it off of $5 a few weeks ago whenever it came up and kind of consolidated here. Looks like it's finally breaking out and moving above this, which is going to be awesome, I think. I mean, who knows? I know that we've had, what was his name? Like Icy Pro?
Yep.
Yeah, Icy Pro in the chat had made a ton of money on this one, and the stock came right back down. He's still holding some leaps and stuff like that. I don't know if he cut any of his positions or not, but wow, yeah, I hope that this can go back up. He was up around $1 million at the time, and he's trying to target 25 million. So we'll have to see how that goes. But this is just insane. Hopefully this can keep moving up. There should be some good 5G stuff people have been researching about Nokia over the next few years. So definitely do your research on them. A lot of people in our Discord have done a lot of research and have really found a lot of interesting scenarios with Nokia. So look it up, and they are breaking out solidly above $5. And I wonder if this will finally be the big breakout they're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. And let's see what else we have moving. We're seeing like a decent pullback right now. We have CCIV going from green to red. Palantir pulling back a little bit. Zoom pulling back a little bit. Jets pulling back. What else do we have? SPY pulling back. So, a little bit of a pullback after that big morning run up. I'm curious. Let me see something real quick.
Yeah, the SPY is actually down quite a bit, but the QQQ is actually up quite a bit. So they're almost like reversing against each other today, which is pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, let's see. Let me pull up the heat map real quick. So if we go to the Nasdaq, well, Tom, when when Nvidia's up almost 4%, it's gonna be hard for the QQQ to fall. That's the one of the biggest gainers today. Nvidia's up 4%. We have AMD up
Yeah.
3%, Qualcomm up 1%, and then you look at some of the Nasdaq stocks that are down, and you have Facebook, and that's only down 0.7%. Then you have Tesla, that's down, but it's down 0.5%. So, maybe if we see like an increased sell off later in the day, that can change. But, Nvidia, AMD, and Zoom are popping, and, they're really holding that NASDAQ up.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that can continue, like you said, because they're almost up so much intraday that, I mean, man, if they start to pull back even a little bit, I mean, who knows? It might just drag the QQQ down.
Yeah, for sure. And then let's see, what else do we have moving? Tesla to the downside a little bit. They're getting closer to that low of day. What else? PDD. PDD is popping up pretty well, up 6%, which is good. But yeah, guys, let us know what stocks you're watching. Okay, let's see. We have Andrew saying, what does open interest mean on an option? So this is a great question. In simple terms, open interest is just the amount of options that are currently open. So, like for example, if there are, let's say there's an open interest of 1,000, that just means that there are 1,000 contracts that people that are open. You know what I mean? Like they're currently outstanding and they're waiting to either be closed or exercised. So, the more open interest there is, normally the more liquid the option is. Like, for example, if you're looking to pick up an option and let's say there was only 2 contracts traded today and the open interest is 5, it's not really a good option to trade, because when you have to go sell that option, there's not going to be too many other people in the market looking to buy it. So like if you look at, let's say we go to AMC actually. Let's say we go to AMC and then I go to the June 18th 30 strike calls. The open interest on that right now is about 30,000. So it's very liquid, and when options are liquid, it means that there's a tighter spread, and it's just easier to get in and out, and you get like better fill prices.
Yeah,
And
for sure. And that's a huge thing with options pricing, though, because you have to make sure that open interest is actually liquid a lot of the times, because you don't want to be getting into something that only has, an open interest of like 100 or 200 or something pretty low, because it can get pretty hairy sometimes.
For sure. And, I'm very glad that Andrew asked this question, because a lot of people, like, especially if they're new to options trading, they think, you know what, like, all you have to do is predict direction. And if you're right, your returns are multiplied by like 5 to 10 times. You know what I mean? Like a call option, like we talked about earlier in the video, like some of these AMC calls went from $10 all the way up to $1,300. But the reality is that options trading is a lot more complex, and not only do you have to predict the direction correctly, but you also have to predict the timing correctly, and you have to do it in a way that fits within that stock's expected move. And then on top of that, if you do all of that correctly, you have to make sure that the underlying option is liquid. So, like, let's say you predict the direction correctly, you get the timing right, you get the expected move right. If it's not liquid, you can get screwed over on your exit because there's no one else willing to buy that option. You know what I mean? So, great question, Andrew, and I think that's going to help a lot of people. So, great job. And then we have Muscle saying, need crypto to stabilize, ridiculous swings. I own Ethereum mostly. Good content, guys. Thanks for all of the analysis. Well, thank you so much for all the support, Muscle. And let's check out Ethereum. I haven't been looking at it too much with all of this AMC stuff going on, but how's it looking, Tom?
Yeah, it's not looking terrible. It's been going down over the past day, which isn't too bad, but it was kind of holding that support around 1,800 and going back to the upside, which was nice, but now it's kind of falling back off. I don't know if this has something to do with AMC or GME at all, because I know a lot of traders are probably transferring their funds into GME and AMC at this point, especially with crypto being down. I think that might have even helped AMC go up a little with crypto being down, because I think a lot of people might have transferred out of crypto into stocks during that time. And obviously, while crypto was up, people were transferring out of stocks into crypto. And I think that we see that type of transition, as well as a transition from growth stocks into value stocks. But It's just awesome, to see this holding up. I don't think necessarily that this is going to crash off and burn or anything. Hopefully it can hold this 2400 support, which has been pretty good over the past few days, but yeah, it's just not looking too hot right now.
All right. So while we're looking at cryptos, let's check out Bitcoin. I know that that's kind of not really. It's not really selling off. It's just not really doing anything.
Yeah, Bitcoin. Let's see it. BTC USD. Let's see if I can type. So BTC USD, it's at 36,000 right now. Not terrible. I mean, I was kind of hoping it would hold that $40,000 level, but it looks like unfortunately it bounced off of it a few times. I mean, oh man, this is hard to say. I mean, I'm getting a little worried because Bitcoin looks like it's getting to be in a little bit of a bearish position here. I'm a little worried it's going to keep going down to touch 31,000 or 30,000 again. Even Ethereum is looking a little bearish if it can't hold some of these levels that they're at. It's not looking good, Mike. And I don't know. I don't know if this is because of GME or AMC or what, or if just because it went down, it scared a lot of people out. But it's just not looking good in the short term to me.
All righty. Well, Tom, let's check out QQQ intraday. We're starting to see a sell-off. Tesla is just fell another 0.5%, which it's not crazy, but you look at these candles and they're pretty big candles. QQQ still is up on the day, but Tesla it's worrying me a little bit. Not gonna lie, they're down a little bit right now. They're breaking below that support at 625. What do we have? Facebook downtrending too. Palantir pulling back. Penn, Upwork, Neo all pulling back a little bit. So we're seeing a little bit of a pullback right now. SPY is at that 420 level. So yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a pullback. What else do we have moving? Let's see.
And we had that inflation data come out today. I'm not sure if this is having an effect on the market. I would have definitely have expected it to have an effect right whenever it came out, but the data wasn't terrible like we talked about earlier. I'll go ahead and pull up the article here, but yeah, the data wasn't bad at all. And it's just you can see a key inflation gauge rose 3.1% year over year. Now that's the key words right here is year over year. So last year, keep in mind that all that COVID stuff was going on. So of course, inflation is going to go up a little bit from last year. And that's what they're saying. They were kind of expecting it to go up like 2.9%, but it ended up going up 3.1%. So that's all it was. It was only like a 0.2% rise. So it wasn't anything too crazy, but with the market starting to sell off right here, like if this is the double top, I mean, who knows? This might be the data that a lot of the big players were looking at. I mean, it's just another one of those things to think about as the market starts to crash off of this 420 level.
All righty. And then let's see. We have Shelby saying, holding a call on Jets, 25 strike call, 917. Should I add to my position? I wouldn't right now. I think it's in a good setup, but I don't think it's like in an amazing setup. So personally, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I would either. It's just that's a pretty crazy. I think that would be pretty crazy. It is pretty far out though, which is good. But just keep in mind the Jets. It's also pretty big over the past few months, I should say, like 1475 up to 28, almost doubling. But if we keep seeing CCL, or I should say AAL, LUV, and others going up, that's going to be an amazing day for Jets and for the ETF overall. I would expect your position to do pretty well, but just don't over leverage yourself. I would think if you're not into anything else yet, maybe check out like Palantir, Zoom, DraftKings, some of those other ones. I think that could be a pretty good, some pretty good exposure to the overall market there.
All righty. Well, Tom, do you have any last minute stocks or anything you're watching for the rest of the day?
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty crazy. I've been loving these stocks like AMD. I've been talking about it a lot whenever you ask me what stocks am I watching. And finally today it pops up. I mean, I've been waiting for it to go up for like a week or two now. It's just been consolidating and just staying flat between like 79 and 77. And finally we're breaking out up to 81. Obviously I'm going to be watching AMC today as well, but AMD is looking pretty hot with all these chip makers. What's really unfortunate though is that the QQQ is coming down and the SPY is coming down. So we might be able to see a pretty good play maybe out of like SPY puts here. It fell below the 1,000 SMA. It's moving below all the 100 SMA, the 200 SMA as well. And it's just not looking good. Whenever it breaks below this 1,000 on a technical level, it's normally pretty bad. And if we look at this 1 minute chart over the past 2 days, if you would have bought on the 1,000, there would be some pretty good opportunities here. So now we're finally breaking below it. Who knows? Sometimes whenever the SPY breaks below this, especially on days with inflation stuff, sometimes it really starts to fly down, but really watch for it to break below 420 later on today. I think if we break below 420, who knows how large this sell-off could be. I think we might be able to come down to the support around 419.20 later on if the sell-off can continue. But yeah, Mike, this sell-off is worrying me a little bit today. You know, we're finally getting back to that price around close of yesterday. So we'll just have to see how this goes.
Alrighty, well, thank you guys so much for joining the live stream and asking great questions. I know that we're set to have a crazy day today with AMC and all that. But guys, don't forget the market is closed on Monday for Memorial Day. So enjoy the 3-day weekend. And like I said, thank you guys so much for joining the stream and asking great questions. And we hope you have an amazing